Ever feel like you're barely keeping your head above water on a project? Like you're always putting out fires instead of, actually building the darn thing.
Oh, tell me about it. The endless cycle of delays, budget
But then
blowouts.
what if, and stick with me here, what if your hard hat could practically predict the future? Like tell you exactly where those fires are going to start before they even spark up.
Okay, now that's an interesting thought. You're talking about this whole fourth gen AR and AI thing bringing
Okay,
in.
we're diving deep into that today. Specifically, how this tech is like strapping a jetpack onto project management.
And we've got a killer case study to pick apart.
Exactly. It's all about a project manager named Megan down in Florida who's using this tech on a mall construction project.
A mall, huh?
Yeah.
So like from blueprints to bustling shops,
Yeah,
you're going to see how this plays out in the real world.
you got it. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's make sure we're all on the same page here. What exactly is the big leap from like the old school AR stuff to this fourth gen tech?
Okay, so imagine this. You're walking onto a construction site, hard hat on, ready to wrangle some chaos.
Been there.
Right. Now, in the past, AR might have just like overlaid a 3D model
Yeah.
onto your actual view.
Right, right. So you could see, oh, there's where the food court's going to be, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Helpful, sure, but not exactly groundbreaking.
Okay, so what's different now?
This fourth gen stuff, it's like it connects everyone on that site. Project manager, subcontractors, the whole crew. Everyone's on the same page with the same real-time info.
Hold on. So no more like frantically searching for that one outdated spreadsheet.
Gone. And forget about those phone calls where half the people don't pick up anyway. This is next level.
Okay, I'm liking this already. Less chaos, more clarity.
Exactly. But here's the real kicker, and this is where it gets really cool. All that data, it's not just sitting there. It's feeding a super powerful AI that's constantly learning.
All right, you got my attention. So let's get back to Megan. She's walking this construction site in Florida, headset on. What's the first thing she sees with this new tech?
Picture this. She's looking at the project, right? And suddenly, different parts of it are lighting up, blinking even. It's like a real-time progress report, but instead of staring at a screen, it's all around her.
Okay, so it's like her own personal heads-up display for the entire project, kind of like X-ray vision for a project timeline. I like it.
Exactly. And just like an X-ray can show you what's broken, this tech shows Megan what's on track and what's, well, a bit of a mess.
Okay, so no sugarcoating here. What's she seeing?
She sees some elements are gray. Those are the parts that are on schedule. No worries there. But then, boom, there's this wall flashing yellow. And that yellow, it means trouble.
Uh-oh, how much trouble?
Not just behind schedule, but has been stuck for days. 5 days, to be exact. And the system is telling her that instantly. No need to dig through paperwork or, interrogate the subcontractors.
Yikes. I can already feel the stress levels rising on that construction site. So walk me through this. What's the advantage of seeing this delay so clearly right off the bat?
Think about it. It's like, in the past, you wouldn't even know about some of these delays until they were already huge problems. But with this, Megan can see exactly where she needs to focus her energy right away.
Right. So instead of stumbling across a problem by accident, she can see it coming a mile away.
Exactly. It's about anticipating those fires before they even have a chance to start.
Okay, I'm sold on that part. But seeing the problem, that's only half the battle, right? What can Megan actually do with this information?
And that is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
anyone can slap on a fancy headset and look around.
Yeah.
What makes this truly powerful is what you can do with what you see.
Okay, give me the details. Let's get into it.
All right, so back to this troublesome wall. Megan, she's not just observing it. She can actually use her headset to get up close and personal with the problem.
So she can play virtual detective, figure out what's causing the holdup.
You got it. And in this case, she discovers that there's a whole bunch of materials just kind of piled up. Cement bags, fittings, you name it. Basically a classic case of construction clutter. But now she's seeing it through her high-tech vision.
Okay, so she sees the problem. Now what? Does she have to, like, radio someone and hope they pick up?
Nope. This is where that whole connected construction site thing comes in. The moment Megan identifies those obstacles, she can tag them right there in the system, categorize them.
So no more scribbling notes on a napkin, hoping you'll remember what it meant later.
Gone. In this case, she tags it as, quote, internal constraints, end quote. Snaps a photo while she's at it. And here's the best part.
Hit me.
That info. It's not just for her. Remember, everyone's connected. So the second she inputs that data, it updates the BIM model that everyone on the project has access to. We're talking real time here.
Whoa. Okay, so we've gone from X-ray vision to like a hive mind for the whole construction site. Everyone's on the same page, literally. This is huge.
Right. Streamlined communication, fewer errors, and everyone knows exactly what's going on at all times. And the case study actually gives us a perfect example of this in action.
Oh, I'm all ears.
Megan's deputy, Joshua, he shows up and they need to make a decision about some inspections, what to prioritize, that kind of thing.
Okay, so a pretty typical day on the construction site. How does this tech change things up?
Well, imagine this. They're both standing there looking at the same wall, right? But instead of just seeing, well, a wall,
That are seeing.
they're seeing the entire history of that delay thanks to the AR. All that info, Megan just inputted, the photo, the tags, everything. It's all right there in front of them.
Wow. Talk about a game changer. No more back and forth, no more guesswork.
Exactly. They can make a quick, informed decision about those inspections, prioritize their time, and get back to work. It's all about working smarter, not harder.
I love that. But we've only just scratched the surface here, haven't we? We talked earlier about this, like AI brain that's constantly learning from all this data. And that's where things go from super cool to like downright mind-blowing.
You're telling me this is where things get really interesting. So remember all that data they're collecting with every update and every photo and every little hiccup.
Yeah, it's like a constant stream of information flowing from the construction site.
Exactly. And it's not just disappearing into the void, all that juicy data. It's being fed into, get this, a statistical model. And this model, it's crunching those numbers like nobody's business.
Okay, time for a quick tech translation here. For those of us who, didn't major in algorithms, what kind of model are we talking about? What's it actually doing with all this data?
So the source material, it specifically mentions a Markov model.
Markov model. Sounds kind of intimidating if I'm being honest.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But it's actually pretty straightforward. Think of it like imagine a crystal ball, right? But instead of vague predictions, this crystal ball has been trained on data from thousands of construction projects worldwide.
Okay, so less fortune telling, more like data-driven forecasting.
Exactly. It can spot patterns. It sees what's happened in the past on all those other projects. And based on that, it can tell you what's probably going to happen next.
Okay, that makes sense. But how does that translate to like Megan's project specifically? What's the big reveal here?
The system, it can actually predict the project completion date in real time.
No way.
Yeah, and it's taking everything into account. The actual progress, those delays we talked about, even the tiniest little hiccups along the way.
Hold on. So no more relying on gut feelings or those like overly optimistic timelines that everyone pretends to believe in.
Gone. This is like as close to a sure thing as you can get in the unpredictable world of construction.
Wow. That is huge. I bet project managers are freaking out right now. But wait, you mentioned something earlier about like global BIM metadata.
Ah, good catch. I was just getting to that.
Mhm.
That's a key piece of the puzzle here.
Okay, remind me again. What was that all about?
So basically, every single construction project that's using this system, it's like they're sharing their secrets, their successes, their failures, everything.
Oh, right. So it's not just learning from itself, it's learning from every other project in the system.
Exactly. It's like having the combined wisdom of thousands of projects all poured into one super brain.
Okay, that is next level stuff. But let's bring it back down to earth for a second. How does all this data actually translate into action on the job site?
Well, they mentioned a bunch of advantages in the case study, but one that really jumped out at me, they call it the 90% syndrome. Have you ever heard of that?
90% syndrome. Oh, I know that one all too well.
Sure.
It's that thing where a project seems like it's almost done, right? Like you're in the home stretch, and then bam, delays hit you out of nowhere.
And suddenly, that last 10% is taking just as long as the first 90%.
A budget's blown, everyone's stressed, it's a whole thing.
Exactly. And that's what this tech is trying to prevent.
Yeah?
Instead of just reacting to those delays after they snowball into huge problems, this fourth-gen tech, it's all about prevention.
Okay, how?
Well, it can actually predict those delays before they even happen. Remember those internal constraints that Megan tagged?
Yeah, the clutter and stuff.
Right. So the system can analyze those issues, compare them to similar situations on other projects, and actually predict how likely they are to cause a major delay down the road.
Wait, so it's not just telling you about existing problems, it's predicting future ones too.
Precisely. And not just that, it can even suggest solutions based on what's worked in the past on other projects.
So you're not just putting out fires, you're anticipating them and putting preventative measures in place.
Exactly. But it gets even better.
Oh, there's more.
It's not just about preventing delays. This tech can actually help you optimize the entire project timeline. And the case study gives us a perfect example of this in action. Remember Solomon, the project control manager?
Yeah, he was back at the office.
Right. So he's using the system to access all this real-time data, but here's the cool part. He's running simulations.
Simulations, like a virtual version of the construction site.
You got it. He can test out different scenarios. Like, what if we shift some resources from this task to that one? What if we bring in a new subcontractor? The system crunches the numbers and shows him exactly how those changes would impact the project.
So instead of making decisions based on like gut feelings, he can actually see the potential outcomes before they happen.
Precisely. And in this case, Solomon discovers that by shifting some labor resources, just slightly, to focus on those made-ready zones.
Oh, right, those areas where they'd cleared the clutter and stuff.
Exactly. By focusing on those, he could potentially shave 5 days off the entire project timeline.
5 days. That's incredible. Imagine the impact that would have on the budget, not to mention just like keeping everyone on schedule.
Exactly. And that's where the real ROI of this technology becomes crystal clear.
So it's not just about the cool factor. It's about real, tangible results.
100%. But now I'm thinking about the human side of things. We've talked a lot about the tech itself, but how do people actually react to this new way of working?
It's a big shift, that's for sure. But you know, it really struck me. They focus so much on the management side of things, project managers, you know?
Which makes sense. They're the ones juggling all the pieces.
Right. But what about the people actually out there, building the thing, the ones swinging hammers, pouring concrete, all that?
It's easy to forget about that side of things when we're all caught up in the tech.
Exactly. And for someone who's been doing things a certain way for years, I mean, this tech, it's a whole new world.
Imagine showing up on site, and instead of someone handing you a crumpled up schedule or whatever, you just put on your headset, and boom, there's your day laid out in front of you. No more trying to decipher those blueprints, am I right?
Or trying to remember what the foreman mumbled while you were half listening. And think about safety, even. What if it's like, watch out, there's a live wire there, right when you're about to step into the wrong spot?
That's what I'm saying. This tech could be a game changer for safety.
Huh.
And not just that, think about training new folks.
Oh, right. Like a virtual mentor walking you through every step.
Exactly. And for the more experienced folks, it frees them up to focus on the stuff that actually needs their expertise instead of running around putting out fires all day.
So it's not about replacing jobs, it's about making those jobs better, safer, more efficient, maybe even a little bit cooler, let's be honest.
100%.
Yeah.
And honestly,
Yeah.
who knows what else this tech could do down the line? We're just scratching the surface here.
That's the most exciting part. This whole conversation, we went from hard hats to like x-ray vision to like straight up crystal balls.
Right. Wild. But to me, the biggest thing here, it's not just about changing how we build, it's about changing how we think about construction.
From reactive to proactive, from siloed information to this shared knowledge. It's a whole new mindset.
A future I'm definitely here for.
Me too. But now we want to hear from you, our listeners. What do you think about all this? Is this the future of construction, or are we getting ahead of ourselves? Head to our website, shoot us an email, find us on social media. Let's keep this conversation going. And that wraps up another deep dive. Until next time, happy building.